What is the Royal Purple advantage? If you've already made the change from a mineral oil to a synthetic, you're already enjoying the benefits of many times better film strength in the way of extended drain intervals, extended equipment life, and better performance of that equipment throughout its life. What differentiates Royal Purple from other full synthetics out on the market is its proprietary additive technology. This proprietary technology affords it 2 to 3 times better film strength than any other full synthetic product out on the market. Let's look at the bearing tester here. This is a machine designed by Royal Purple to test film strength. What we're going to do here is take a full synthetic product, competitive product from a major oil company. This is an ISO 220. ISO 220 refers to the viscosity, the weight. We're going to compare it to a Royal Purple product, which is an ISO 68, essentially 3 times thinner. Why am I doing this? We're stocking the deck against us. We want to show you that Royal Purple's proprietary additive technology provides film thickness and film strength regardless of viscosity. So let's add this to the sump. We're going to create a film, and we're going to begin adding weights. Now, if you look at this, this is a Timken bearing. If you were to magnify this smooth surface 1,500 times, this is what you would see. There's asperities, peaks, and valleys. What happens when the lubricant film fails? These peaks begin to hit one another and break each other off. Next thing you know, you have metal floating around within your sump. They're reattaching to other areas. You're getting vibration buildup. This is the beginning of the end to your equipment. So we're putting this on. I have an amp meter here. This is going to show you energy draw, friction. We have a film running. We're going to begin adding weights. The first weight, the amperage went from 5 to 6. With the second weight, it's gone up to 9. And we add the third plate, and we have failure. And that ran for essentially 4, maybe 5 seconds, 3 plates. Let's see what kind of damage we were able to create. You see that? That's a significant scar. Do you see how rough it is? Again, that was 3 plates, 4 seconds, 1 point of contact. Can you imagine in a compressor, a big diesel engine, a gearbox, how many points of potential contact you have? How much metal is floating around? Anytime you do a test, if you can't repeat those results, that test is worthless. So let's run this test again. I'm going to turn it 1/4 of a turn so that you can compare the 2 scars. We've got it spinning. We got a film running. We're running at about 5 amps. The first plate, we're up to about 6. The second plate, we're all the way up to 8 or 9. And again, failure. Do you see the smoke? That's friction. That's heat. That's your additive, your oil actually oxidizing. That's the creation of sludge and varnish. Again, very bad for your equipment. Now let's do a compare on the scars. There's the initial scar. 3 plates, 4 to 5 seconds. You see that? Here's the second scar, identical. Now, Royal Purple's additive technology has a number of benefits to it. Number one, it has an ionic charge. What's that mean? It means it's attracted to metal, more so than water or any other lubricant on the market. What I'm going to do next is I'm going to actually begin this test again. I'm going to add our product to it. Now, I'm not doing this to suggest that you use our product in any way, shape, or form as an additive. It is not designed for that. Royal Purple provides formulations for every specific piece of industrial equipment on the market and viscosity ranges for every environmental condition. The point of this is to show you that number one, we have an ionic charge. It's going to go through the existing lubricant, it's going to find the metal, and it's going to create a film. Number two, it is compatible with any hydrocarbon-based lubricant. Well, what's that mean? It means that if you've been running a mineral oil, a synthetic blender, another full synthetic, that you're not going to have to flush. The only time you need to do a flush is if you have a varnish or sludge buildups. Number 3, Royal Purple's film strength is 2 to 3 times better than any other full synthetic. So what's that mean? It means that when you have these peaks and these valleys, these asperities, instead of them the film failing and then breaking off and reattaching elsewhere, it's going to force the peaks into the valleys and micro-mend. You're going to get a return on that parasitic loss. You're going to get renewed life expectancy on your equipment. I'm going to leave the scar where it's at because I want to show you all these attributes. Now I want you to listen and I want you to watch the amp meter. I'm going to start with 1 plate because we know that the product will run that way. Did you hear that? The Royal Purple product actually went through the existing lubricant, sought out the metal with its ionic charge, and formed its own film. Now what's happening is you have improved film strength, improved lubrication. Before, when the product failed at 3 plates, we're running and we're still at 5 amps. We're running more efficiently. 4 plates. Let's take it up to 5 plates. Basically twice what the other lubricant handled. Again, the Royal Purple product has gone through, sought out the metal. Now its film strength is so tenacious that it's micro-mending. It's forcing those peaks into the valleys and giving you a return on that parasitic loss. Now, when I took the bearing off the last time, you saw a little bit of smoke. That was heat. I want to show you something here. Let me clean this. It's not even hot to the touch. Why? Because we reduced friction. Okay. Remember the original scar? 4 seconds, 3 plates. What happened when we added the Royal Purple? You see the difference? You see how dull and rough that scar is? After adding the Royal Purple, it's no larger, but what we've done here is we've micro-mended. We've pushed those peaks into the valleys and given you a return on some of that lost life expectancy of your equipment. Now that's fine and dandy, but the real purpose of Royal Purple is not to repair damaged equipment. It's to keep new equipment running new and at peak performance longer. So what I'm going to do is I want to turn this another quarter turn. We're going to see what would happen if we were to take that new piece of equipment and run it on Royal Purple from its inception. I always like to do this. I like to wipe out my sump and show you the results of those 2 scars. Again, this is essentially 4 seconds of running 2 points of contact. Look at the amount of metal on that. Can you imagine what that's doing to the inside of your equipment? Now, normally I would also sand the race because right now it's pretty damaged. But we're going to leave it all rough like that. Again, stacking the deck against us. We've turned the bearing to a fresh spot. We're going to take our sump. We're going to add Royal Purple. Again, this is 1/3 the viscosity of the competitive product. Flip our switch. We have a film running. You add the first plate. We're still at 5 amps. We're going to add the second plate. We're still at 5 amps. Now this is where the competitive product failed. So I'm going to stop it right here and just show you the scar for comparative reasons. Now this is dramatic. Do you remember the original scar? 4 seconds, 3 plates. That's with Royal Purple. Now let's see exactly what Royal Purple can do. We're going to put this back on. Normally I would add the plates one at a time, but you know, for demonstration purposes, we're going to start with 3 plates here. We're going to add a 4th plate. Now this basically is twice what the other product did. A 5th plate. Now what happens in industry? Your equipment isn't always running. Sometimes it's started and stopped. You have shock loads. Can you imagine the force on that bearing from this? Many times you have dry starts. I'm going to sometimes have to help this a little bit. shock loads. What happens if you have a piece of equipment that's running and all of a sudden you lose your sump? With the Royal Purple, our tenacious film strength will keep it running long and allow your maintenance guys time to shut the piece of equipment down so you don't lose your equipment. Now, with everything we've done here, running with and without a sump, shock loads, dry starting, let's see how much damage we were able to do. Again, we had the original scar, 4 seconds, 3 plates. The Royal Purple, with and without a sump, bouncing weights off of it, running 2.5 times the load at some points. This is amazing. The worst contamination you can get in industry is water. 1% water in a lubricant, in a liter of lubricant, will reduce bearing life 48%. I always like to show people what Royal Purple would do. We're very hydrophobic. Our product hates water. As you can see here, it breaks cleanly from water very quickly. What would happen if we took, I'm going to drain some out here, if 1% water in a lubricant reduces bearing life 48%, what would happen if we ran with 80 to 90% water? Now, if you could see this, you can see instead of forming a level, because there's metal involved, the ionic charge of the product is drawing it to the edges, the inside edges of the sump. So let's see what we can do here. I've got a fresh spot on the bearing. We're going to create a film. We're actually creating an emulsion of water and oil here. We add the first plate. We're still at 5 amps. We add the second plate. We're still at 5 amps. What you're seeing here is our product, its ionic charge, is so tenacious, it's so attracted to metal that it's going and creating film strength that's going through the water, protecting the metal. 3, this is where the previous full synthetic product fails. Is that amazing? 80 to 90% water. Shock loads. With all that, let's see what kind of damage we were able to do. You remember the original scar? Well, I'm going to have to show it to you in a second here. But this is all the damage we were able to do. It's insignificant. What is the Royal Purple advantage? It's uncompromised lubrication performance.